and has served as many as 71 when families have experienced temporary need for assistance. These backpacks are for students whose parents find it challenging to afford enough food for their families through the weekends. The bags include enough for food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Each week, Ms. Ward and her students plan out a menu with a variety of foods, and if they have allergies, they adjust and find replacements. During the 18-19 school year, the SOS inventory packed and distributed, guess what this is, 23,731 individual items. You can learn about their work on their Facebook page, which includes videos and countless photos, and something's up almost every day from Janet Ward, and a KVU featured story. If you haven't observed this program in action, I highly encourage you to go out to the campus and see these kids. It's truly a business operation and one that's a diamond among programs in the district. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Janet and ask her to introduce her students. We're awarding Janet with a bouquet of flowers and a certificate of appreciation, and all her students will receive a certificate of recognition.
All right. We're going to start with our little ones first, our third graders, and that's the first year they're able to. All right. So the third grade is the first year that they're able to volunteer, and we have 3 that chased me around last year before they could apply this year, and that would be Liliana Barrera. Oh, yeah. You get to go and shake your hands, right? Then Diego Iquez. And Jonathan Castillo Gonzalez, Jr. Moving on to our fourth graders, we have Zoe Hardy. And she's been volunteering for 3 years now, right, Zoe? Liberty Beckland. Did I say it right, baby? Ivan Laura. And our fifth graders are Gavin Noble, and he's in his second year. Jesus Ruiz was not able to come tonight. Cash Simpson is in his almost 4th year because he started with his brother the first year we did it. And Cash has had over 70 hours in the last 2 years that he's contributed after school hours. Joseph Stays. And Joseph's in his 3rd year. Jose Rivera, Ernesto Ramirez, and Jordan Mata weren't able to come tonight. They had different obligations. Little kids are very busy sometimes. But that's our crew for this year.
Okay, everybody look this way, and in 3, 2, 1. Let me look at it. I'm going to take one more. 3, 2. Okay, that's great.
Thank you all for your outstanding contributions. So this second group, the Kids Feeding Kids program, led by Decker Middle School science teacher Donna Mitchell, has taken off another program rapidly in the past year. The students in campus organizations like National Junior Honor Society and the Gear Up Club provided approximately 550 bags of food this past year, not only to the Decker Middle School students, but also to students at Oak Meadows and Decker Elementary campuses. Because the need is great throughout the year, This program has been extended to also to include summer pickup for students who are able to get to the school. The program runs similarly to that of Lake Manor Elementary. Students plan, identify needs, and run the operation like a business and pack the food through an assembly line. As you know, sadly, Decker Middle School had some break-ins over the summer, and much of the food from that pantry was stolen. Donna Mitchell didn't miss a beat. I mean, she got after it. She began reaching out to her parents and asked me to support in identifying additional funders. Fortunately, the community came together to respond, and food was filled so the work could continue and the needs of students and families could be addressed. You can also find their work on Facebook and a video created by one of their funders, Bluebonnet Electric Cooperative. One thing I didn't note earlier with Lake Manor Elementary, they had a lot of partners who supported their efforts, which included Christ Together Greater Austin, Scare for a Cure, Bluebonnet Electric, Amy's Ice Cream, Food from the Heart of Jay, and then within this program, there were Community Helping Hands, Frontier Bank, Bluebonnet Electric, Food from the Heart of Jay, Steiner Ranch Community, Manor United Methodist Church, and Central Baptist Church. So we have a lot of people united to support these efforts and really believe in the work that Donna Mitchell and Janet have created. And I just want to acknowledge now Ms. Donna Mitchell, her students, and her amazing principal. You can call.
I'm just jumping through this. Okay, so I've got 8th graders who were, I guess they're freshmen now. They helped me start this last year, and it wouldn't have started without them because I didn't have enough time to get it done. So I wanted to recognize some of the people who volunteered the most, but it was just a come and help if you want to type of situation. So the first person, Daniel Torku, couldn't make it. He volunteered for about 7 weeks. Off and on throughout the second semester. Dejanay Thomas. Tuti. 9th grade. She's at New Tech. And Nyla Ochoa. She's also a 9th grader. And then I was able to get 2 of my 8th graders and 7th graders in this year. And the first one is Kellyanne Wappy. She's in 8th grade. And Kiasia Anderson, she is a 7th grader who has been coming in since her 6th grade year and helping do this. So, thank you.
Ms. Thomas, you actually? Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, right where you were. Okay, cool. And in 3, 2, 1. One more. 3, 2, 1. Okay?
All right, next we're going to move to seniors vote. Stroll the poll. Dr. Kreslin Fannin.
Good evening, Dr. Avery and Board of Trustees. This past Friday, our seniors were able to early vote for the very first time. So, we are very excited that we had our first-time voters for this election, And we began with voter registration in our senior level classes as well as our government classes and any of our activities where we knew seniors were going to be present. And so this past Friday, we were able to do a seniors vote, stroll to the poll. We began by starting at New Tech High School cafeteria, where many of our civic leaders, our Board of Trustees, Dr. Avery, and our administrators and staff joined us to talk to our seniors about being civically engaged. And so we are very excited that they were able to do that, and we walked across the street, come over to the polls to make sure that they were civically engaged. And so we just want to thank everybody for participating with us. We are looking forward to our spring elections and making sure that we keep our students not only college, career, and military ready, but also life ready. And this is a really important initiative to make sure that we help our first-time voters.
Thank you for coordinating this event. I think it was a huge. We didn't have all that many seniors there, but I think it's the seniors that were there. They were kind of afraid to even take it on. Yes. But I think just easing the pain a little bit really helped a little bit. So I think it's a great, first, show of making sure that we keep our kids civically involved. And so it's a great and wonderful thing. So I look forward to the continuous growth of it.
Absolutely.
And I would like to add to is that maybe they can, the seniors that did vote, you know how they were a little scared, hesitant, they could probably talk to the rest of the seniors, say how easy it was to cast their vote.
And there's still time for them to vote.
Yeah.
I mean, the election is not until, the 5th,
Exactly.
so we still have some time to make sure that we engage with them some more and have them come
Exactly.
over and still vote.
Wonderful.
So we're definitely going to be working with them to do that.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Feinstein.
you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Manor Early College senior Drew Steele. Coach Marshall.
I really don't need this, but I'll use it anyway. Thank you, President Fisher, Dr. Avery, the rest of the board. I would like to also recognize that we have our FCA representative, the director that's over our area, Mr. Justin Linneman, in the crowd here tonight, who was very imperative in getting the Manor High School FCA back going after it had been on hiatus for who knows how long before I got here. The FCA Tom Landry Memorial Scholarship has been given out every year over the last 18 years to one deserving graduating senior in honor of the late Coach Tom Landry. Coach Landry was instrumental in getting the Austin FCA chapter established 30 years ago. The FCA awards a scholarship in his name as a way to honor his legacy, his love for young people, and his passion to see the gospel shared through sports. The FCA awards this scholarship at the Tom Landry Memorial Golf Open, held every fall, every year as a fundraiser for the Greater Austin Fellowship of Christian Athletes. In addition to Mr. Linneman, he's not here with us, but we would like to thank also Mr. Darrell David, one of the supporters and contributors at the fundraiser, who actually met and shook hands with Drew and the other award winners and was so impressed with them, he decided to match the scholarships and double the amount.
Wow.
Yes. But our guy, the 2019 Tom Landry Scholarship Award winner, is Manor High School and Early College senior student athlete Drew Steele. Now, Drew is active in FCA and other ministries. He's volunteered in places like the YMCA, helping the homeless, food drives, children and youth groups, in addition to being a great student athlete. I've coached Drew for 4 years now. This young man is a true representative and ambassador for Christ. Drew's one of the hardest working, most dedicated, focused, and caring young men that I've ever met. His work ethic is second to none. He's an exceptional student. He always strives to improve in everything that he does. In addition to that, Drew also helps out anyone in need whenever he can. He exemplifies Christ in his daily life as he always tries to do the right thing for no other reason than it's the right thing to do. He is compassionate towards others and shows God's love every single day. He's an absolute joy to be around, and I am blessed to have had the privilege to work with such a great young man as Drew Steele.
Is Drew's parents, here? His parents? Yes. Have them come up as well. His parents, come on up. You guys come on up. Bring it in, guys.
It's okay.
We're gonna take actually a step, and just sort of,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
maybe just take a step this way, to your right. Yeah.
We're good.
Perfect. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Look. Looks good. Thank you. Congratulations, sir. Thank you. Awesome.
All right.
On.
Now move on to our public forum.
Mr. President, we have one speaker, Ms. Deborah Guerrero.
I have 5 minutes? Or 3 minutes?
Hi, Ms. Guerrero.
Hi, I'm sorry.
Let me go ahead and just read off the public forum policy here. In the interest of fairness and accordance with board policy, the Board of Trustees will follow these guidelines. Each speaker is allotted no more than 5 minutes, but since we only have one speaker, I'm pretty much giving you the floor to speak. I will inform you when you have 1 minute, but that's no longer valid there. But the board may not discuss or make any decision on any subject that is presented. By making sure that we are doing this, we will ensure that all persons addressing the board will have equal time and attention. You may go ahead and start now.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Deborah Guerrero, and I am with the NRP group. And I want to thank you, Dr. Avery, board trustees. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here and speak to you this evening. I just wanted to ask really for your help and your partnership in approving an easement transfer for development that we are doing just north of Decker Middle School and Elementary School. We're very excited about being able to partner with Strategic Housing Finance Corporation on a 262-unit multifamily workforce development, about a $45 million investment on about almost 12 acres over at 9,000 Decker Lane. Now, I'm actually a board trustee myself in San Antonio, so I do know about the rules and then having to follow state and local government rules. And our attorneys have been working with your attorney and getting us to this point. So we very much appreciate that, that process. But I did want to just stress to you the importance of why we wanted to partner together and why you would be a partner in this particular development. And a partner really in just selling us an easement. And so for fair market value. But really, we have been working on this development for the last year, about a year and a quarter. We have support from the city, resolutions from the county and the city, as well as neighborhood support from Colony Park. So we've been working very hard to gain neighborhood support as well as governmental support. And we know that a development like this will actually not only benefit the community, but benefit the school district with more ADA. So again, I know we're going through your process. We do need to close before the end of the year. I know you have a couple of more meetings left, but we'd really appreciate your consideration in approving this transfer once you are comfortable with it, and just needed to stress the importance. Again, I'm here with two of my colleagues that I want to point out, just in case I have a school board meeting the same time you do in the next couple of months. But we are really all working together to really do something very positive here in Manor ISD. And so thank you very much for your consideration.
We'll now move on to our consent agendas. Is there anything that needs to be pulled to be discussed? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept items A through H. I have a motion from Mr. Velasco to accept items A through H. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Ms. Celadon. All in favor? Let the record show that it passes 6-0. All right, we'll now move on to information items. We'll start with board committee update. And, let's see here. Go ahead.
So I'm just updating you to the academic committee. We are looking at the theories of education because the foundation of any great education process is to have policies in place to govern us. So that is what we're doing. That is our main focus right now. Yay.
I'll go next. The Facilities Advisory Committee, we met on September 3rd. We literally just discussed old business, which was band instruments and playgrounds. We got an opportunity to tour the actual Manor New Tech Fieldhouse. Thank you, Dr. Vera, which was actually an awesome opportunity to see. And we are discussing facilities use, so we'll come back as we begin to dial that in. And that was pretty much it for, and then sponsors and advertising that we'll talk about tonight.
We'll go ahead and go with the safety and security meeting that we held on October 3rd. Approximately 18 people showed up from various campuses in the community. We had representatives from Travis County and Manor Police Department. Some of the items we discussed was the bullying protocol and data, Stop the Bleeding Kids through House Bill 496 compliance, needs assessments for the campus security updates, and secure vegetables. Also, tonight we will be discussing and possibly approving of a Manor ISD Police Department.
With the policy committee, we did not meet this past month. When will we be meeting, Dan? Tuesday, okay. So we'll give an update at the next meeting.
Mary, you don't have nothing? I'm part of, they already
Okay.
updated, I'm part of the committee.
On the Parent Engagement Steering Committee, Manor Elementary Early Learning Center hosted a parent forum on Wednesday, October 23rd. There was a special performance from Ms. Wimby's pre-K class in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month. We want to continue to encourage parents and staff to join our PTA, so if you haven't done that, please do so if you're interested. Also, you get a lot of discounts as well, so don't forget that. We have had over 25 volunteers support our campuses for the month of September. If you're interested in volunteering, please visit the website and sign up. We would love to have you support all our students. Toys for Tots is quickly approaching, and it will be held in December at the Lions Club. To qualify and get signed up, please see the parent liaison at your prospective campus. And thank you, Becky, for doing so much for Toys for Tots, and I know you'll be right there helping them as well. The next parent forum will be held on November 13th at Decker Elementary from 6 to 7. Please join us if your calendar is clear. Thank you.
And I have one more, Manor Schoolhouse Foundation. A total of 157 innovative competitive grants were submitted. This was an increase of 97 grants from last year.
Wow.
A team of MSF members are currently reviewing and scoring all the applications. The Grant Prize Patrol will begin the announcement on December 5th. The MISD board members will be invited to attend the prize patrol if your schedules allow, so it's a great opportunity. Hopefully it's not cold and rainy like it was last year.
Rainy last year.
In addition, the Manor Schoolhouse Foundation will begin receiving applications for recognizing employees who promote a culture of innovation in their work more broadly outside of their classroom or work environment. You can find the first nomination process for the elementary category on the MSF website. The first recognition will occur in January, and the recipient will receive a $200 Visa gift card certificate and will be recognized during the board meeting. So thank you for all the hard work.
Thank you.
Any other updates? Good? All right. We will now move on to monthly financial report.
Thank you. Good afternoon, or good evening, President Fisher, Dr. Avery, and Board of Trustees. Art is not here. He is traveling back from D.C. as we speak, so he cannot make it, but I wanted to present to you the September financial statements, the monthly financial statements, regular item that we have, but I have made a slide. It is a little bit different than, oops, wrong way. Okay, so that what you have in front of you is the condensed, all the funds together, but it was too much for the PowerPoint, so I have a little bit different. If you look at what I am presenting to the public is spread out. I have the general fund and the debt service and food nutrition separated, but it is just our regular monthly financials. I don't know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to try and answer them or take notes for my boss. Food service here, and we have debt service. Still waiting on property tax monies to start coming in, but everything else is just pretty standard. Y'all have any questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to quarterly investment report.
You can't leave that fast.
I forgot. I have an extra. Will you help me with that one, too? Is it up there? Oh. I guess I don't have a presentation for that. Y'all have it, though.
Yeah.
And as you can see on that one, we still have most of our earnings coming from Texas class. It's a little bit down in this quarter. We don't have as much in there. We made our debt service payments, so that brought our balance down, but still doing really good with that. So. And I really think I'm through this time.
Yeah.
Any questions on that one? Okay.
You come back later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Fieldhouse construction update. Jerry Blizzard.
I'm going to give you a current handout that Troy is bringing around to you, because I know the information we give you in your packet is usually 2 to 3 weeks behind a little bit. So we want to kind of bring you up to speed on what we did.
Thank you.
You also had a Fieldhouse tour earlier today and got to see a little bit of the progress. As you know, we were only a few months away from this project actually closing up. So every opportunity you get, I'd say, come and take a look. We'll make time to make that work. We may want to look at some point of thinking of having a grand opening or dedication. We'll talk about that, because again, a few months away, we'll be doing that. It'll be holidays, so everything is going to move pretty quick. Every day there's something new going on. If you look at the building, you're looking at the finished colors now on the outside. You'll start seeing the road, the flat work, the concrete, the parking lot. Everybody thought the building was on fire today because all the smoke from the lime was being spread out. And so we had to tell them, no, that's progress, it's construction. There's lots of things going on. One of the things that you approved through the consent agenda was the washer and dryers. We're getting those installed, so you're starting to see fixtures, furniture, all those appliances and things that are coming together very good. Troy, any Any thoughts or?
No, I appreciate the folks that had a chance to attend today and walk the site, and it's available to anybody that hasn't made the walk through to schedule a time to go see it. As Jerry was sharing, we'll be putting in ceilings next, and floors are being polished. So fortunately, in the next few weeks, we'll see quite a bit of the finished work come up. So if the opportunity to come back and see it again, if you have seen it once, is to see the advancement that goes on the next 3 to 4 weeks. It's going to be a big change to a more finished building. Beyond that, we'll see in November, we'll start seeing the site work being created. As Jerry was saying, the sidewalks will start to show up and be more finished from the exterior, too.
Hey, Joe, what's the timeline for the floor to be placed in the gym?
The timeline for the floor, it has to be acclimated, so in about 2 weeks, they'll bring the materials to the gymnasium. It'll take 3 weeks to acclimate, and they'll begin the installation, which is another 2-week process. So about a month and a half at the timeline for the wood floor. They're coordinating at the same time to do the bleachers right after that, so that room will start really coming together with the finished qualities by the December.
Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you.
Now move on to item E, Showcase Second Annual TACRAO. Ms. B.
Good evening, President Fisher, Dr. Avery, board members. I am happy to share with you on Friday, September the 27th, we had a college fair through TACRO for our district juniors and seniors. We had a combined total of 80 universities, colleges, military representatives, and trade schools. We had over 1,300 11th and 12th grade students from Manor Senior High School, Manor New Tech High School, from MAP, from MEA, and also from Early College High School attend. It was a feat, but it was fun. I'm going the wrong way, I think. So I thought it would be great to share with you some thoughts from students who attended. So we had a 12th grade student, Miriam, that said the college fair was a good opportunity for students to have a better sense of what colleges they want to go to, because some students may be too focused on one particular college and may not be open to other colleges out there. We had representatives from all over the United States, and we had one university all the way from Rome, Italy, that attended.
Wow.
Nathaniel, another senior, said, the college fair was special to me because although I already knew what colleges I wanted to go to, everyone could appreciate the environment of the many opportunities and choices of different colleges available. Azelia, another senior, said, I really enjoyed the college fair as it provided me the opportunity to establish communication with representatives from colleges that I have applied to and are interested in. We wanted to give a big thanks to all of the high school campus administration and counseling teams that organized their transportation for their students to this event. It lasted 2 hours, and it was truly a revolving door of students. And thank you very much to Manor Senior High School custodial staff that helped us with setup and breakdown. The greatest thing was to hear the students, when they were leaving, share with each other information they had collected. And as representatives were leaving, they made sure to stop by to tell us how wonderful our students were.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great. And Ms. Deaton and your staff, I know Dr. Fannin and your staff is a combination of the teamwork that you guys do to make sure that we get, you know, opportunities for kids in the district. So you guys have done a remarkable job, and I want to thank you for that. So keep up the great work, keep it shining, and giving our kids the options to do great things for the future. So thank you for that.
All right, we'll now move on to action items. Contracted services for teacher and visually impaired students. Ms. McKinley?
Good evening. Good evening, Dr. Avery, President Fisher, and Board of Trustees. So in 2018-19, our teacher of the visually impaired, who was actually employed by Manor ISD, resigned. And we've had that position posted since that time. but the applicants must have the certification of teacher of the visually impaired on their SBEC certification, but none of the applicants have had that. So that has led us to have to reach out for contracted services. The vendors that we currently have contracted services, they have not been able to provide us with a teacher for the visually impaired. So we do have an independent contractor that that provided some services during the summer and is also willing to provide those contracted services throughout the school year. It is someone that was also recommended by the service center to us as well. The amount that we are asking for the contracted services, the $40,000, is actually tied to right now the 15 students that we currently serve and the services that are currently in their IEP, as well as including some makeup services as well.
And due to the fact that it's over the $25,000 threshold, we have to bring it to the board for consideration and approval. So
yes,
that's why we're here.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept item A.
I have a motion from Ms. Celadon. I have a second from Ms. Thomas. All in favor? Record show it passes 6-0.
Thank you.
All right, next we have considering or approve creation of Manor ISD Police Department. Mr. Markham.
Good evening, President Fisher, Dr. Avery, School Board. So this is something that has been well over a year in the making and conversation, and I know that you all have a larger 4-page document that goes through the details of what we've looked at, but we also have a quick 1-pager, thank you, Dr. Vera, that really highlights the difference between what we currently have as opposed to what we're looking to do with our own police department. So obviously we're looking to employ our own police department so that we aren't contracting out. Currently, we are spending almost $1 million for the contract that we have with Travis County, and that also includes the one SRO that we have with Manor Police Department. So those combined are 7 total officers. Next year, we're looking at a $90,000 increase for the same services. So what we're proposing is that we begin immediately in building our own police department to begin for next school year. And our initial cost would be higher because we would need to spend money for our own equipment, whether it's guns, cars, what have you. But then once we get past the first year into the second year, we would actually be saving money, and we would have 3 extra officers. So with our proposal to have our own police department, not only would we have our own equipment, superintendent would be their boss as opposed to somebody else, and we would have the seven current SROs in our secondary campuses, and we'd also have 2 SROs dedicated to elementary schools, and we'd have a chief of police.
And what we wanted to do tonight is to make sure that we present ourselves and present the information to the board to officially get it out to the public about what we're doing. That kind of makes sure that we, hopefully by December, be able to hire a chief of police to help organize and orchestrate the organization of a new police department. There's a lot of work involved, and so we need someone to help guide that work. And so this is what we wanted to be able to do for you today, is to give you the overview, but also get it public that we are also getting ready to. And there's been a lot of districts over the last 6 months that have put that out there so that the county knows exactly where districts are going because of the cost.
And to that point, Travis County is requesting our contract for next year by November 1st. So our timeline with regard to that is short. But on the back side of that one pager is our own timeline, which highlights where we would go from here, which would begin immediately with regard to posting the position for chief of police. We've found a location that we feel would be a perfect fit for the department, and we're ready to move forward. Of course, on there, I believe it's the 4th item. We would hold the board workshop with you all to be able to go through any details and any questions that you have as this gets started.
Any questions?
What? Okay, go ahead.
The current, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
The current contract ends when with the county?
At the end of this year. So we're in a 3-year contract with a 1-year rollover, and we're in the rollover. So we would have to renew for another 3-year contract. And as you saw on there, that contract would be over $1 million for those 6 SROs.
But that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking.
When does the current contract end?
Right. So
is it December?
No, it's at the end of this school year.
Okay, cool.
The school year, at the end of this school year,
Yes,
which is June of 2020?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Thank you.
next week.
No, well, next week is just to renew the contract.
So that's the deadline that they have in place for us to renew the contract, and it would be for 3 years?
Yes, ma'am.
And at that point, there would be no way to get out of that?
Get out of the contract.
You can get out. I think that's a 30-day or 90-day out period, but it's still, you're obligating us to be able to have them to be our school resource officers for that amount of time, But again, I think this will give us the ability to kind of actually, we've been talking about it for about 3 years.
3 years.
Right.
So this is officially give us an opportunity. And I know talking to principals, district staff, we're excited. I think we're going to rally the troops to be able to do this and do it right. I think it's time for this district to be able to have something to feel comfortable that we're going to be supporting and the safety and security of not only student, teachers, and administration in our district, and be in control of that.
Absolutely, and that to that point, one of our biggest frustrations is, particularly with Travis County, what their response to so many of our questions is, if somebody isn't breaking the law, there isn't anything that they can do. So. In many cases, they have good rapport with the kids and they'll talk to them, but they're limited in what they can do and will do. With our own police department, they're employees of the district. So not only are they enforcing the law, but they're also enforcing what is in the best interest of our students, our student code of conduct, our handbook, anything and everything that all of the employees do in addition to being able to enforce the law.
So we're going to have a board workshop to discuss how the whole process will look,
A little bit more detail.
Yeah.
So we
The
need
hiring of
your
chief,
perspective.
how that's going to look, okay.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Any additional questions? We'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve
Yes, ma'am.
the creation of the Manor ISD Police Department.
I'll second.
I have a first from Ms. Cerna and a second from Ms. Celadon. All in favor?
Thank you.
All right.
I was trying to see what letter it was.
Consider and approve additional stipends. Mr. Morrison?
Good evening, members of the board. Glad to be here tonight. I actually had this on the previous agenda. I wasn't able to attend that meeting. I'm presenting this for Mr. Perkins, who has requested 3 additional stipends. I'm in agreement for those stipends. If you have any specific questions about that, he'll answer those, specific to the stipends.
Mike, step up and just give us a brief.
Good evening, President Fisher, Superintendent Avery, and trustees.
So we are asking for, or have requested 3 additional stipends. The first one is for a lead librarian stipend in order to provide greater direction and program uniformity for our library services program. I currently support librarians, and in my shift of responsibilities, it's a little challenging to provide the type of support that they need. However, this is a great opportunity for us to empower and develop leadership within our own very talented pool of librarians, and for us to take our librarian program to the next level, which coincides with what we've been doing over the years for our literacy program, right? So this is just another step in the right direction for our literacy program by empowering one of our librarians to take the role of the lead librarian and to create a shared vision for what librarian programs look like in Manor ISD, and use that vision to drive our program, to establish goals and benchmarks to evaluate our program and to drive our program forward. The second stipend is, wait, are there any questions on that before I move to the second stipend? All right, the second stipend is that same speech pretty much also also relates to our languages other than English, or our foreign language program. We all remember needing to take Spanish 1 or 2 or French 1 and 2. And so again, as you look over our curriculum program, we've worked really hard in order to expand our curriculum and to make it more accessible to teachers in order to drive their instruction. And we need to build that same infrastructure for our foreign language curriculum, and also need to identify a foreign language or LOT teacher in order to take the lead on that with the current structures of our curriculum, but to gather our LOT teachers together and work cooperatively in order to build that LOT curriculum and instruction services too. And then, are there any questions on that before I move to the third stipend? Okay, take that same, no. The final one is our bilingual program. So as our bilingual programs continue to evolve, we all know that we have early exit and then both one-way and two-way dual language. Also doing a look at our curriculum, what we provide in terms of curriculum. We have got to up what we're providing in terms of those bilingual programs, especially the dual language two-way program as that continues to build. And so this stipend would serve that same role, working to build the curriculum infrastructure for our bilingual programs, specifically Spanish language arts and reading. Currently looking, there is a equity gap between the curriculum that we provide for our ELAR classes and the curriculum that we provide for our SLAR classes. And it is our goal to erase that gap immediately. I'll entertain your questions.
So what you're saying is, for example, the lead librarian, she will be accessible to the entire district librarians, correct?
Sure. So she will still, her primary role will still be serving as a librarian on her campus, but then will facilitate librarian meetings and work with the librarians in order to problem solve, like I said, create the shared vision, and then move our program forward.
Okay, for new teachers and anybody that
Yes.
that needs support.
Absolutely.
And it would be the same thing for all three of them.
Yes, ma'am.
How many did you say for the bilingual curriculum department? There's 4,000? Is that for, I didn't, it says it's for 4,000 on that.
Yes, the stipend would be for
Is it just one?
Right, for one person who is going to be leading that work. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Right. So it's gonna be 4,000 apiece.
No, the first stipend, only the bilingual stipend, they each were a different amount.
That's why I.
No, they each were a different amount.
Just one person.
It's an R.
Any other questions?
And so all this financial impact, 8,500, and the steps, did you already cover the substitutes?
No, that's
No,
next
okay.
agenda item.
Sorry. So all this, is already gonna be included or somehow worked in with a budget that we already approved?
Yes. What happened is because the board have already approved stipends once this year.
Okay.
We do it once a year.
Yeah.
And because these are additional stipends, that we're not on that list, we have to bring them back for approval.
To add it to
That's
the
why the impact is at 8,500.
Okay.
So, yes, we have that already kind of, that we can actually make sure that, as long as approved, we can make it happen.
Now, is there an amount of hours on task for each of these stipends? Because, I mean, it sounds like a lot of work, especially with, because just because you get $4,000, are you going to be doing $10,000 worth of work? Because is there a point where you like, this is what this $4,000 is?
Well, no, it's a great question, but haven't looked at it in terms of an hourly input. Instead, we've kind of looked at it in terms of a product input, and we know that we have dedicated folks here that are willing to take, a little financial bump, but willing to produce at a level that we expect.
I would like y'all to track the time on task, because, if we don't give people a stipend for $4,000, but they end up doing 3 months, worth of work, we probably should.
Yeah,
Almost
we can
like
definitely
the
do
coaches,
that.
though, right?
Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
Other questions? We're good? All right, I'll entertain the motion to consider and approve additional stipends. A motion for Mr. Velasco. Do I have a second? I have a second for Ms. Cerna. All in favor? So it passes. 6.
I'm gonna let Mr. Perkins continue on the substitute piece too. He's having such a good track record here. We'll cue him up. I have an updated document I'd like to give you. I'm gonna approach the document. All right. Before I run down this, I want to tell you 2 things on the substitute teaching world and substitute aides and substitute RNs and all those pieces. The 2 greatest needs that we have in the district from an employment standpoint, first and foremost, number 1 is bilingual educators. Beyond the shadow of a doubt. We struggle attracting, maintaining, keeping, retaining all the boxes we need to check we struggle with for bilingual education. We're making improvements. We still have a lot of work to do. The second greatest need we have is adequate substitutes that show up for work on a regular basis. I think our principals in the back of the room would agree with me that substitute management is a problem from time to time, if not every day. That being said, if you've watched the news, then you realize that Austin ISD has announced that they're changing the substitute pay rates for their substitutes effective November. At least that's what the Statesman's reporting. I have not seen that from an Austin board meeting yet to validate it, but that's what the Statesman's reporting. If you look a little further in the Statesman's article, you will notice that they mimicked our current pay system for subs, with the exception of the add-on pays. The base concepts are the same, okay? That being said, what I know is that once Austin moves, other neighboring districts will need to move too. I want to point out to you that I brought this in September and planned to present this to you in September because I wanted to get one step ahead of our neighbors. And so what I've done in the substitute preparation piece for you to look at, if you look at the green line at the very bottom, the top green line where it says Manor is our current rates. If you look at the recommendations, you're going to see that I'm suggesting the rates move for non-degreed people from $85 to $90 a day, for degreed from $90 to $100 a day, certified from $95 to $125. That's a big jump, but we need certified people in our classrooms in substitute capacities. We do. We have multiple long-term subs.
115 or 125?
125. Oh, sorry, my apologies, 115. If you go down to the RNs, you'll see the RNs are going to move to 150 a day and LVNs to 125 a day. And that's to put us more in comparison with what they can work in local hospitals or clinics or regional medical facilities, because they can get hourly rates that far surpass our hourly rate easily. So what we want to do is at least get competitive with them. I've provided you the neighboring districts that I see us in competition with based on what our subs tell us. We know that these other subs are working in these other districts, and what I want to do is be the home base for subs. I want people to respond to what we're doing and not us responding to what they're doing. So that's the recommendation. The financial impact is an additional $55,000, but that's for the entire year, and I believe that the vacancies we have will cover that gap right now, hands down, easily. So it appears to be new money, but at the end of the day, it's going to wash. That, and finance could speak to that if they agree or disagree, but I believe that will be the reality of where we are.
We're good. No,
Okay.
we're good.
He says yes, so it must be true.
It's true.
So, will there be any additional stipends for Fridays? Because I know that's a hot day to be able to.
So we've contemplated that, and I'm not opposed to bringing that back to the board. I think that's a reasonably good idea. And we're trying, what I'm doing right now is I've got a person looking for models where that exists. I'm not afraid to create our own wheel. I'm not, but I just want to see if it's already out there before we go down that road.
That's smart.
Any additional questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll entertain a motion to accept item D.
A motion from Ms. Celadon.
I'll second.
I have a second from Ms. Thomas. All in favor?
Selena.
She said Thomas.
Oh, she said, okay. All right,
Thank y'all.
Ms. Thomas.
Let the record show that passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Communications in Schools Contract, Office of the Governor, Grant, Ms. Lott.
Okay, I'm here tonight. I'm happy and pleased to tell you some good news that Communities in Schools, Gary Fry and I collaborated on an Office of the Governor truancy prevention grant last spring to include increased CIS services across the district at 11 campuses, tutoring funding to be provided during the day and at the elementary campuses, Sylvan Learning Services at Manor Middle and Manor High, mentoring, attendance campaign dollars, professional development, and the hiring of a required program director. On September 1st, the district was awarded $924,297.99, with a total of $697,592 being directed to CIS to provide those direct services. So I'm here tonight to request approval of the CIS contract. CIS will continue providing integrated student supports on 6 existing campuses, adding additional student-level supports at Manor Middle and high schools with significant attendance challenges. So our group, along with the program director and all the CIS staff, will be in collaboration with the attendance staff, working in tandem to address attendance issues across the board, while also addressing social-emotional learning, support programs, resources for students, and providing those wraparound services across the district. So please approve this contract.
I make a motion, okay.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion, to approve item E as presented by Ms. Becky Lott.
I have a motion from Ms. Cortez. I have a second from Ms. Thomas. Oh, did Ms. Cerner beat her?
She
Okay,
beat it
what?
this time.
Okay, second from Ms. Cerner. Sorry, y'all got to speak up loud.
Thank you.
All in favor? All in favor? All right.
Thanks, Becky.
Thought I was through, but I'm back again. But this time, I bring you something not so, not monthly, but yearly. As you know, we are required to have our financial statements audited yearly, and I think this is our 4th year to present to you Whitley Penn, who is doing that has done that audit for us, and I'm happy to present Mr. Chris Bro, who's going to do that presentation for us.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
You want these?
Oh, yes, I'm going to hand them out for you.
Yes, you are.
Okay, I'll get this down.
Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Avery, thanks for having us out tonight to go over the results of the audit as of and for the year ended June 30th, 2019. Our engagement team this year, as you can see, was made up of a number of folks. Our associates, Antonio Vega and Orfam Adam. Our senior was Dustin Hicks this year, and Robert Henniff was our senior manager. I had the pleasure of serving as your audit partner, And Mr. Thomas Peterson was the concurring partner. He does quality control over the work that we do. The purpose of the audit, why we're here, is to express an opinion on the financial statements. You've got 3 options. You can have a disclaimer of an opinion, which is bad. We don't want that. That's where we say we can't even express an opinion on this. Qualification or modification to the scope limitation or departure from GAAP. That might be where you've done something that is not done in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles, but we can still express an opinion with a modification to that. And then the last would be an unmodified or clean opinion. This is what you have, is an unmodified or clean opinion in your financial statements, which is the highest level of assurance we can give. And in that case, we're saying that the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects. Let's talk about the audit process. We start out with planning in the audit, risk assessment, assessing where things might go wrong, where they could go wrong. We do send you out some questionnaires as well to get your insight as trustees on what you think could happen. We take a look at the internal controls, determine whether we can rely on the controls and reduce the risk of material misstatements. That is, we test the internal controls in your system. We do not express an opinion on your internal controls, but we do test your internal controls and would report back anything that we found. Our opinion, then we have the substantive testing, which we're testing year-end balances of things, is your cash there? Are your investments there, receivables, payables, and the like, taking a look at that, putting our hands on it. And then finally, that ends up with an opinion. And as you saw earlier, unmodified, modified, or disclaimer, and of course you ended up with an unmodified report. A little bit what goes into that unmodified report is a test of details. Vouching is a result of sampling or individually significant items. So we take a look at big items, we take a look at samples. We are not looking at 100% of your transactions. There are transactions out there that we did not look at. You need to know that. We test. We do random samples. We take a look at big stuff. We do substantive analytics. That's predictive analysis. Students go up, we'd imagine teachers would go up. That sort of thing. If property values go up, then property taxes will go up. And we do ratios and trend analysis. All that pours into the bucket, which is a technical term, and we talk about sufficient audit evidence in order for us to express an unmodified opinion. So you have an unmodified opinion over financial statements. There are no internal control findings report relating to financial reporting, and no findings related to compliance. On the federal audit side, we had major programs, special education, Title I, Title III, emergency impact aid, an unmodified opinion on each of the major programs, and you had no internal control findings related to each major program. Again, that's good. Internal controls over a critical area. Here are areas that we looked at. We looked at human resources, payroll, procurement, accounts payable, information technology, other revenue sources, the financial close and reporting. How do you close out your information, get them into financial reports, and then we made some recommendations for improvement to the staff on minuscule items there. General fund revenue in millions. This looked so much better on my screen, but property taxes make up $51 million, 59% of your total revenues in your general fund. State aid, of course, is $29 million. It makes up about 34% of your general fund revenues. So those are, of course, your two big sources of monies coming in. On the expenditure side, instruction and instruction-related costs run at 56%, or $49 million, and instruction and school-related leadership is at 11% at 9.9, along with facilities maintenance and operations of 9.7 million, both at about 11%. This is only your general fund. We'll take a look at debt service in just a bit. Your 2019 budget to actual recap for the general fund, your actual revenues of $86.7 million exceeded budget by $2.5 million. So they were in excess of what you had budgeted. Your actual expenditures of 87.8 million were less than budgeted by about 2.1 million. So you underspent your budget. Expenditures exceeded revenues and other resources by $793,000. You had budgeted to draw down your fund balance roughly $5 million. You drew it down only $793,000.
Yay!
I was teasing Melanie. I hope the audit got an applause too. Instructional related services that we talked about ended up with 56% of your total expenditures. Expenditures increased $6 million from the previous year. 3.9 or was $4 million of that was payroll increases, and the rest comes from other areas, contractual services, etc. You had an ending fund balance in fiscal year 2019 of $28.9 million. And to give you an idea there, the red bar there represents fund balance, sort of the minimum fund balance you'd like to have. Ignore my actual numbers down at the bottom. I apologize that. 90 days of fund balance would look like that in the gray, and you have 107 days in fund balance, not the 115 you see there. It's the 29.8 we talked about on the previous page. 115 would be kind of crazy. But that's your number. So you're at 107, so you're in great shape on your general fund. In the food service fund, the food service program, you had actual revenues of $6.2 million, about $400,000 over budget. Actual expenditures of $6 exceeded the budget by about $200,000. So your fund balance increases. Your actual expenditures were in excess of your budget. So you overspent in food service by about $200,000. Your fund balance increased by about $200,000 to a $1.6 million ending fund balance. In the debt service program, your revenues exceeded budget by about $300,000. Your revenues of $29.3 million. Your actual expenditures of $27.2 million were right on budget. You were $27,000 under budget. You nailed that one. Fund balance increased by $2.1 million, which gave you an ending fund balance of $43.3 million. That's a $43.3 million with annual revenues or annual expenditures of $27 million. So you have a very healthy debt service fund balance as well. Your principal interest, you have payments due in August that you just paid of about $18.5 million. So the bottom line on your fund balance is you have healthy fund balances that are in good financial shape.
Awesome.
And I'd like to thank Melanie and her group for putting up with the auditors. Everyone likes to see the auditors leave. We do appreciate serving Manor ISD, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have at this time.
I just want to send a thank you to you and your team. I mean, it's always a pleasure for you guys to come in. I know Melody, and it's always a kind of frazzle time for auditors to come into the district, but I mean, your staff makes them feel welcome, and it's just a great opportunity for us to take a deeper dive. And so when you guys partnered with us a couple of years ago, when we didn't have anybody to even look at us, and so you guys have done a great job, and you've helped us to kind of stay the path, and so we appreciate that very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'd like to say something to that too, because 4 years ago, I know y'all remember how many findings we had, and this team has helped us tremendously. You see where we are. This is the second year we've had a clean audit, and it's all due to the things that they've helped us with. So we really do appreciate all y'all. Thank you.
Y'all gonna make the auditor blush now, don't you? You need to take care of your business here now.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2018-2019 annual financial audit.
I'll make a motion.
Motion from Ms. Celadon.
I will second.
I got a second from Ms. Celadon. All in favor? Let the record show passes.
Mr. President, before the President and the Secretary leave, there's a certificate that needs to be signed tonight.
Okay.
So make sure that gets taken care of.
Your caller has it.
Someone will have it. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Have a safe trip back.
Thank you, Melanie.
And then that's implementation of Commissioner approved turnaround plan. Dr. B.
Good evening, President Fisher, Superintendent Avery, distinguished members of the board. Excited to be here to say the great work going on at Manor Middle School. We just had a good meeting with the state just last week. They're fired up and excited about the work they're doing. So if you remember, we turned in a plan in January. They rejected it. We turned in another plan in June, and within a few days, they accepted it. And you have both those letters with you. And then now they said, you've said you're going to do this. Are you implementing it? So we are just showing them the progress we've made implementing it. We have had tremendous success. We've got phenomenal leadership, one of whom is standing behind me here, Principal Jones. Fantastic. So Principal Jones and his team are really taking this to the next level, so we're really fired up. And the plan, as you know, had 2 dimensions. I'm just using dimensions instead of levers. We were going to have strong school leadership and planning. Dr. Jones embodies that. And then we said we're going to focus on effective instruction. The teachers are doing a phenomenal job, and Dr. Jones and his team are coaching them up, which is great. And the state was impressed with the work we did, which you've all got, those detailed plans. Yep. So I think I'll just stop by saying, unless Dr. Jones wanted to add anything else, what questions can we answer for you on the plan that we have in place for you?
Any questions?
Could you tell them what's the next step for the plan because of the approval that TA needs and didn't work?
Yeah, so Carla has a paperwork for, you got to accept this plan as we have presented, saying yes, you're following it and we're implementing it as we suggested. So I know there are 6 of you who's there to sign. So I think you definitely get those 6 signatures, Carla, and then hold on till Sam comes and get his signature this week or next week, something like that. Because I don't want to send it without one signature, somebody picking up on that. So this is due next month, but we were just ahead of schedule. So that's good.
So, go ahead.
So when you came up with the plan, I know action then takes on a whole nother life. Is there anything that you wish you would have put in the plan or support you wish you would have had now that it's actually taking place?
So I think I would defer answering the question to Dr. Jones because I wrote the plan. So it doesn't make sense for me to say I wish I added something. I want to have him answer that question.
Well, the plan is pretty clear and succinct. It has a lot of the same systems that we've been doing in Manor ISD over the past few years. From my perspective, I mean, I didn't help make it, but it was pretty clear for me when I got there, and like I really don't know if you can make a perfect plan that's going to change as the year changes, as people get hurt, and you know, just the year wears on. But I think the framework is definitely there for us to be successful. So I appreciate it as an incoming principal to have a framework, kind of guide the work that we're doing.
So I have a question as to how we're going to track that actual progress to make sure that we're meeting the expectations in which we've actually getting ready, in which the plan in which we're getting ready to sign off on.
So you know, we are very meticulous about progress monitoring. We did that last year, which got us the results we are, and now we continue to do that relentlessly. About maybe 7 weeks ago, 6-7 weeks ago, we did the first round of data days, and last week, Mr. Perkins, or last week they tested. They're supposed to finish scanning today, tomorrow, somewhere there, and then we have the second round of data days coming very soon. So we are relentlessly following that, and when we looked at the track record of where Manor is now relative to where they were last year, we see significant improvements. So we know the trend is in the right direction, and to Dr. Jones's point, can we keep the pedal to the metal?
And the other piece of that, Mr. Fisher, is that myself and the district team, including the principal, we have periodic meetings with TEA. They will come in. We actually invited them to come in to do a site visit. So they're going to keep an eye on us as well. Okay. Because one of the things the state is doing is any low-performing school campus in a district, they're really holding them to what you say you're going to do. That's why there's so much signing off by the board about what the plan is doing? Are you communicating to the board about the plan? Is there an update with the plan? So there's a whole lot of checks and balances in place, and this is kind of new for this year when it comes to our schools. So it's going to be upon us to be able to be transparent with the board, along with what we're doing on a progress monitoring basis as well. So there's a lot of checks and balances in place.
I know that as we went through the training progress measures is always important, because that's what leads us to the actual overall goal. And what we know is what gets measured, then we focus on. So that's why I was asking if you guys can come back and just continue to give us an update as to what we can do.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you guys for the hard work. Any other questions? All right.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the MMS implementation of Commissioner approved turnaround plan. A motion from Ms. Thomas, a second from Ms. Cerna. All in favor? Record show it passes 6-0. All right.
It's going to take it in and close it, and then we'll come back out. We'll pass on that one.
All right, so we're going to adjourn to closed session. We'll come back out after we talk and vote on item H. Let's see here. The board will now adjourn into executive session at pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Opens Meetings Act, 551.074, 551.071, and 551.072.
Morning, Gary. How are you doing? I'm still waiting for Master.
Where's Friday? We got a little. We got to get to I'm hoping you see that. We can't get the chief. Well, we're doing the so if they give them a choice.